A Christmas to Remember, December 17th, December 18th at 2nd Baptist, Woodway Campus. We're going to tell you about the times, 3 and 6 on Saturday, 3 and 6 on Sunday, and on Sunday, in addition, 9:30 in the morning and 11:11 Sunday morning.
Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Napick. Every week, we talk with interesting people in a variety of professions for ideas to enhance your success in all aspects of life. Successful Living with Bill Napick starts right now. Here's Bill Napick.
Welcome to the show. It is Successful Living with Bill Napick. I am Bill Napick, and today, Successful Living with Rodney Brooks. He is the worship pastor at 2nd Baptist, our Woodway location. In addition to Rodney, there are so many people here in the studio, I can't count, but you're going to enjoy the show. We have professionals here. We're going to talk about A Christmas to Remember, December 17th, December 18th at 2nd Baptist, Woodway Campus. We're going to tell you about the times, 3 and 6 on Saturday, 3 and 6 on Sunday, and on Sunday, in addition, 9:30 in the morning and 11:11 Sunday morning. You're going to hear more about that throughout the show, but first, the show is called A Christmas to Remember, and here he is, Rodney Brooks from 2nd Baptist. Hey, Rodney.
Good morning, Bill. Thank you for having me.
Wow. I'm excited because we have so much to cover. We have so many talented people that are part of the team at 2nd Baptist. It's incredible. So let's tell people what's going to happen today.
Well, we have been in preparation since mid-July, basically, working this production. Half a year.
Getting ready.
And it's really a build from scratch, both the script and the music, the production, the technology, the dance, the choirs. I mean, it has been a journey, quite honestly. And here we are. I can't believe we're just 3 weeks away at this point from presentation. So it's going to be fabulous.
Well, of course, there's always so many things going on at our church, 2nd Baptist, throughout the year, but December truly is extra things going on. We're going to touch upon them, but first we're going to talk about the show, and we're going to actually talk, there's so many elements, music, choreography, and we're going to first talk to the person that has rewritten, adapted the script for A Christmas to Remember. Let's do that right now. Now we get to talk to Nancy Brandt. She has adapted the script for the show, our show, called A Christmas to Remember. Rodney, let's tell people a little bit about Nancy.
Well, Nancy and I have shared a friendship now for, goodness, I don't know how many decades, over 3 decades. We worked together back in Jacksonville, and she was not only our children's music director, but she was a fabulous script writer and did most of our script writing for our big shows. And so when we began to think about what we wanted to do here at 2nd this year for Christmas, we found a play that was originally intended to be just a dinner theater play. But the storyline was so great that I knew Nancy could just do a miraculous job with it, and she did, in developing it into what we're now calling A Christmas to Remember. But the story is still about Ebenezer, a character that's a spoof from A Christmas Carol, the Dickens Christmas Carol, and Scrooge. So she's done a marvelous job doing that, and we've developed it into an entire musical production.
Well, Nancy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Well, Nancy, let's tell people, when you and Rodney got together and put the script together, let's tell people some of the things you were thinking about as you adapted this script.
I think this classic Dickens story that has been told and retold so many times, it's a very powerful way to show us that God never lets us go. No matter how far we move away from him, he never moves away from us. It's sort of like our hearts are his deepest desire. And I believe that this story illustrates that so beautifully. It's like he's always pursuing us. With every sunrise, with every part of his creation, he's showing us who he is and how much he loves us. There really are no lengths to which he won't go to win our hearts.
And one of the things that we enjoyed in developing this program with the character Abby, there's a little of Abby in each of us, and especially this time of year. What I love about this show particularly is there's a lot of humor It appeals to every age group, no matter how young or how old. And it also, although it's fun and it's whimsical and there's a lot of humor, there's a lot of heart spread throughout the script. And so it never loses our thread of just, how deep the Father's love is for us. And Abby finally realizes that for herself, because through the first part of the show, she's very commercially minded. She's very much, like many, unfortunately, in the world at Christmas, see Christmas for something totally different than what it is intended to be. But throughout the show, I think many people, our hope, our desire is that many people will relate to Abby in their own lives in a lot of ways.
And Nancy, as we think of the script, as you're sitting there, you're putting words together, I would think it has to be thrilling to anticipate how this is going to turn out when all the elements come into place, the music, the dancing, the things the actors bring to it, and even the venue itself. So that has to be a tremendous thing for you to imagine and soon see.
Oh, it's extraordinary how much talent Rodney has at that church. He's got an amazing team with amazing gifts that when you see God weave all those gifts together to produce something like this, you use the right word. It really is thrilling.
One of the things that we had such a great time doing in developing the script is, developing things that people will recognize. We even included, if you might remember, Bill, the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I do, yes.
We did our own take on that, and that's one of the ways that we take Abby on her journey through the 3 Angels of Christmas. And so we've taken some liberties with what those characters look like and the journey to those places, which remind Abby of where she was, where she is, but unless she changes, where it could all end up. I want Nancy to just kind of share a little bit about those 3 characters and developing the script and the lines for them. Can you take us there, Nancy?
I can. We have 3, just like the original story, we have 3 angels of Christmas: Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future. Christmas past is, because we're in Houston, she's a bit of a cowgirl, and we have great fun with her, and she just gets right under Abby's skin immediately and doesn't take any static from Abby like the rest of the world has to. And she puts Abby in her place very quickly, but begins to take her on this journey. And then we have the Angel of Christmas Present, and that's our Regis-like character who uses a game show format to let Abby look in on her own life and the effect or the lack of effect that she's having on the people in her life. And then, of course, there's the Angel of Christmas Future, who is our ominous character that shows her, unless she changes, what the result of her life will be.
And all 3 characters are very unique. They bring something special to each of those scenes, all of which we believe will keep our audience very engaged. It's very relatable, but a lot of fun throughout. But there's a lot of music thread throughout the program, and we're going to hear a little bit about that a little later on. A lot of dancing, a lot of special effects. As a matter of fact, we're particularly excited because this is the first year that we've done probably to the level, the technology, in that our backdrop is all virtual. It's all done through LED technology. And so the scenes will literally change before your eyes. And so we're able to take a lot of liberty and bring a lot of things to the stage that ordinarily we could not do. And it's all done live right in front of the audience. So we are really excited about the way this show has developed.
It's going to be exciting. And also to say that it's interesting, Nancy, how even humor is going to be a part of this, as you injected humor with the characters. So really, for people listening out there, there is going to be so much for you right there, an important message brought to you with music, humor, and so much more. Nancy, before we close this segment, what else should people know about the script or anything else?
This is a story that's been told and retold. There's even a brand new version of it out this year with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell called Spirited. And I watched that, just curious to see what they had done with the story. And what I was struck by is all throughout the show, they continually call Ryan Reynolds' character unredeemable. That's the word that they use for him over and over. And I was struck by what a blessing it is that with God, there's no such thing. He never calls us unredeemable. His love pursues us and seeks us out. And when we are at our worst, his grace is at its best. So I think it's a joyous, fun way to begin your Christmas and get your heart in the Christmas spirit and have a realization for each and every person there of how deeply, deeply he loves them.
Nancy, thank you so much for being with us. I can't wait to see the show and be a part of it even.
Well, we are so excited that you will be, and thank you for giving us this chance to spread the word.
Thank you. Wow, Rodney, that was incredible. Music is a big part of everything that goes on at our church, but certainly in this show, A Christmas to Remember, music, the musical elements are incredible. We have John Stanley right here. Let's tell people a little bit about John. He's incredible.
John is on our worship team, and he's not only a fabulous drummer, but he's an amazing arranger. He manages the business portion of our office, so he's a little of everything. But one of the things that he was tasked to do was in the program, the opening segment takes place inside a department store that we call Neezer's, and it's named after the main character, Ebby Neezer, which, of course, is a takeoff on Ebenezer Scrooge. So all that to say, the opening segment is chaotic. It is the last 5 minutes of the store closing on Christmas Eve.
It's going to get our attention, isn't it?
Listen, we're going to come at you hard and fast and furious, and he has developed a song that does just that. And I'm going to let him share a little bit about how that was developed, what he was thinking about the whole time that he was putting it together, so you have a little insight as to what to expect in the first 2 minutes of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, it's been a lot of fun working on it. It's been a lot of fun to be tasked with something like that. But whenever you come up to any kind of these productions, you always, want to kind of read into the script and see what's going on. Nancy did such a good job of kind of indicating the chaoticness that needed to occur, and Rodney and her vision that they cast out. You always want to try and grasp that as much as possible before you jump into anything. And then we had a great team meeting where they kind of threw out a bunch of different options, like what if we put in there, different kinds of Christmas carols, different kinds of Christmas songs that have been written, and try to marry all those together in just a chaotic mess of trying to get the store closed up, people running around trying to buy Christmas gifts last minute, Ebby herself trying to find out like what she can do to kind of accentuate on that as a store owner, and all those different things going on, and trying to figure out what's when the store's going to close, when to be able to take a breath, and just how all of that leads into the chaoticness of like what Ebby's life is and what it's become. And so trying to get an idea of all of that coming together, and honestly, as a big fan of film scores, I jumped into listening to some things that I felt like did a good job, doing that in movies over the Christmas holidays. And of course, the man himself, John Williams, created an incredible composition in the movies Home Alone. And I don't know if you guys are probably familiar, obviously, with the movies, but within the soundtrack, when they're all running through the airport and different things like that and running around, there's this fun motif that he created. And I kind of thought, man, it'd be fun to kind of take a similar idea, obviously not the same idea at all, but just take a similar idea of that chaoticness going on that creates a feel of rushing and running and just out of breath kind of activity, and importing that into a live show and into a live arrangement. And so it starts out from that and goes into We Need a Little Christmas with a choir, but everybody's still running around going crazy. And then we've got little aspects of a Bing Crosby element with the Andrews sisters that then transitions into a real angelic moment, and then transitions out of that back into We Need a Little Christmas, back into the chaoticness, all within about 2 minutes. And so it's fast and furious, and it moves very quickly, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll keep you on the edge of your seat.
How many minutes do we know exactly how many minutes, or about how many minutes the presentation will be?
Yeah, the show is probably top to bottom around 70 minutes. So an hour hour and 10 minutes.
So, John, as you describe creating moments and feelings in that very first beginning, so for that 70 or so minute ride, I can imagine the thought. That's just the first 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Just the
right.
first two.
Imagine the thought that you've brought forth throughout the 70 minutes to have it chaotic and then move in another direction. And the elements are exciting.
Yeah, and obviously to work with a guy like Josh Smith, I mean, it's been a blast. Just kind of bringing our minds together on what we feel like would work. I mean, starting from even the prelude into chaotic into the song that Josh wrote for the very opening dialogue. Really and truthfully, is it all comes together seamlessly, and so it's just one thing after the next. And it was fun, kind of running that piece together in rehearsal, just seeing how that would connect. But yeah, we wanted it to be very filled up with a lot of music, and honestly, not a ton of dialogue in order to keep interest moving and going. And so we actually got to combine with quite a few different songwriters, Josh being one, Amanda Singer being another, and a few others that we've been able to work with and take these songs and make them into something that we feel like carries the script forward. When there's not a lot of dialogue and you do want to keep people interested, you have to bring interesting music to the forefront. And I think that we've accomplished that. And I'm excited to see it all really come together live in the live elements.
One of the things that we learned through this process is, especially with our time limitation, is that we can accomplish more effectively and more fun through doing dialogue over music. And even some of the dialogue being sung, which you'll hear about from Josh when he talks about how he developed that whole second scene.
Right.
But John's overture and then the opening number of the store closing sets him up beautifully for that, and that's why I'm very excited, particularly about even just the first 10 minutes of the show. It keeps you engaged. One of those things where it grabs you and it doesn't let go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking, as you again describing the opening and then the ride for the 70 minutes or so. Without spoiling it, I'm sure the ending has to be, you're really going to be going somewhere, so the ending's going to be incredible as well.
Yeah, it will. And as always, you bring in a group like Veritas, which we have as guest artist for the show. It always takes you to epic moments. And so we go from these fun-filled, chaotic moments into an ending that is very epic, that tells the story of the true meaning of Christmas with Christ's birth and the reason why he came. And so we end with some very epic arrangements that, again, will bring you to the edge of your seat, not necessarily in excitement and chaotic, the spirit, like that kind of spirit, but it brings you into the story of the birth of Christ extremely well and just sets you into the pace to celebrate Christmas and its true meaning with your families.
And there's a variety of musical selections. One of the things that in the development of the program, the creative meetings, we wanted to be able to appeal to a wide audience of different tastes as it comes to musicality and those that enjoy different styles. So I would say in this 7-minute program, you're going to hear a little of every style imaginable, both in today and retro. It's all there.
And what I'm thinking too, John, is seeing you work week in and week out. And by the way, if you visit Second Baptist, we encourage you, all our locations, but this is going to happen at our Woodway location, 6400 Woodway. But one of the things, as I watch you work, John, you're so mindful and you have a palette. When we look at our orchestra, all the sounds and all the musicians that are a part of that, I would think as you're putting this together, you're mindful of all these elements. It's got to be overwhelming. It's like being a painter with a million colors. How do you...
Yeah, well, a lot of that comes with knowing your talent and knowing how your orchestra will play to what you write. And so we have a fantastic orchestra, and we've got some of the very best players in Houston in line with us on the show. And I mean, they consist of people who are part of the Houston Opera, Houston Symphony, and they're great players around town. They're just fantastic. And so being able to write to the orchestra and knowing what you can and cannot pull off is a huge part of that. But knowing the great players that we have, you can give them things that in your mind are a bit of a stretch, but to them they're like, well, I got this. We can cover this. And so it's like Rodney said, the vast amount of styles. I mean, we go from that more like film scores, chaotic Christmas kind of set up, to a very Broadway version of what Josh has done with his song. And a lot of it kind of carries that Broadway feel throughout. But then, we go into a gospel thing with Rhonda Williams, and Rhonda, is an exceptional singer on staff at Second, but we go into a very gospel-driven Joy to the World, Whitney Houston's Joy to the World, that is so fun. And I mean, it just, I would say power brass blasts things that out. I mean, it's a lot of fun with our brass section, because our brass section is ridiculous. And so bringing them and having them be a part of that, and knowing they can pull things off that aren't
Others
not
can't.
always that mere mortals can do, I guess you'd
Exactly.
say. So.
And to enhance that whole process, he'd mentioned the soloists. All the soloists are fabulous. They're powerful singers. They can deliver. But to be able to back this up with a full choir, in addition to the orchestra, just brings the whole musicality to another level. And it fills the room. And as you mentioned, we have a beautiful, beautiful worship center seating over 4,000, 2 balconies. So to bring the kind of presence that you need on each musical piece, you need multiple voices, and so we'll have a strong choir there, along with a fabulous orchestra, and then a powerful cast, all of which are great soloists in and unto themselves.
Yeah, and a children's choir as well. So all of it kind of comes together in full round.
Even there'll be dancing, I'm hearing, right? There'll be choreography.
Great choreography.
Not by me.
Well, you guys aren't going to be dancing. So we're reminding people, A Christmas to Remember takes place at Second Baptist Woodway Campus, December 17th, December 18th. December 17th is Saturday. You could be there for 3 and 6 o'clock. Also Sunday, 9:30 and 11:11, and then again 3 and 6 o'clock on Sunday. So there's many times to enjoy the show.
Great options.
If it were me, I would be going to one of the early ones so I could see it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we see that often, where people will see the show, especially if they come to one of the earlier shows. And not only do they return, they bring
people.
guests
That's-
with them and
that's
say,
the
you've got to
idea.
see this.
Yeah.
That's right. So go to second.org for more information, but it's a tremendous presentation, A Christmas to Remember. We're going to continue. John, anything else?
Well, yeah,
Before
so
we move on.
just to add on to that. So, yeah, you can go to second.org/A Christmas to Remember. That's going to be the quickest way to get to it. And we still have a few seats left for the dress rehearsal. We are selling tickets to a dress rehearsal in case you wanted to
And
get.
that's the Friday before, the 16th,
Friday
right?
night.
Yeah, in
It's
case
the-
you wanted to kind of get some of the behind the scenes, like kind of see how that works too. Like it's a lot of fun to
like
see
your friends
the ins
and
outs
family.
of
There
things
you go,
like that,
yes. So a lot of things going on. Anything else, John, before we move on?
No, I'm excited for you to hear what Josh has to say about.
Thank you so
great team.
much, John Stanley. As we continue, Josh Smith is here with us. He's the contemporary worship pastor at Second Baptist Woodway, but so much more. A gifted composer, performer, can play, 10, 12 instruments, maybe 20. I lost count. Josh Smith, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. It's glad to be here.
Actually, how many instruments can you play?
It's one of those things that playing and getting by are two different things, but I
Piano
can
and
play
violin.
Piano, violin, and
Excellent.
acoustic guitar are probably my 3 staples, and then I can fake my way through a few other things.
Well, and Rodney, Josh is doing incredible work as far as his writing and performing and even leading along the way that other musicians.
Josh is a fabulous worship leader, and of course, as he already mentioned, he handles all the music for our 11:11 service every week. But we get to pull him in for these special events and occasions like this, and he was a part of the entire creative process, as well as helping develop arrangements, writing songs, and I just can't believe what he was able to produce for us. And one of the things that we talked about before, just in the time restraints that we have, making the dialogue of the show carry a little more effectively by maybe some of the scenes being completely sung and instead of spoken. And so he took the second scene of the show that we have named The Manor, which is basically Ebenezer's beautiful home or palatial home, and we introduced the entire cast in that song, which is about, 3 minutes or so?
3.5 songs.
And so the entire cast has a section of the song where they are actually singing the dialogue, and to do that is a difficult, tedious process that I can't even imagine what he went through putting that together. But the end result is fun, it's quick, it's very witty. And at the end of the 2.5, 3 minute song, you know the cast very intimately.
Awesome. Josh, give us an idea of some of the things that, as you put this together and you're putting this presentation and the songs and thinking about things, how does that work when you're in this creative process?
For me, it's making sure that the story stays clear and that we're getting where we need to go as far as telling the Christmas story and everything. This particular scene, we were looking at several pages of dialogue that in that gigantic room, as you know, is a little hard to keep that energy up for that long with just speaking. And so that was part of the inspiration of putting this scene into music. And so it was one of those things that I had several sessions of just sitting at the piano, plunking out ideas, and nothing happened. And then somehow a melody line popped in my head, and the lyrics just kind of sort of fell into it. So it was a fun process to write that scene. So.
Well, as we talk about scenes, the manner, the opening scenes, it makes me wonder, how many scenes are there? Do we have an idea?
I think there's around 11 scenes total.
So if we look at it that way, 11 different segues to these various scenes, it's going to be very interesting. And again, each one will have its own feel, different things going on. And your wife, by the way, Bethany, let's tell people a little bit about what Bethany does and how you're working together with Bethany.
My wife, Bethany, is...
she's listening to the show, right?
She is listening to the show. We're probably sitting on the couch together just wondering why I got a microphone in front of my face and not a piano. No, she's the head choreographer of the Christmas show and has been for several years. She and I have both been heavily involved with the Christmas production at Second for over a decade now. And she's just a talented person, also sings in our worship team for the 11:11 service. And it's just been a joy for us to be able to watch this traditional time of the year kind of morph over the last decade or so. And for us, and especially for her, it's just a great opportunity to offer our church people a place to come and get community and get to serve with people. You know, we've got a huge cast of volunteers that are a part of that, and that's her heart especially is to be able to give our church the chance to have some community and get to know people in such a big church where that's hard and difficult to do sometimes.
Once you have Josh on a project, you never want to do one without him. Because what he brings is just a whole different, he brings a great viewpoint, a fresh perspective every time. He's able to work through challenges in a way that something spectacular comes out of it. So, as you might expect on a brand new show where you're developing it from the very beginning, all aspects of it, script, music, choreography, to have someone that's able to troubleshoot and to work through problems and to do it in a way that it looks like it was always meant to be is a special gift. And that's what Josh brings.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in one of these programs. And specifically what I'm usually taking care of is I've got a laptop that's running all the in-ear things that the musicians are listening to, our click tracks, our guides and everything, and then also listening to all the instruments and the singers.
And direction, too.
And I've got a microphone where I'm cueing instrumentalists and singers and talking to the tech team and everything, and it's exhausting, but it's rewarding.
Well, also, as far as Bethany doing the choreography, the people that are doing the dancing, it's people of all. There's children they're going to be dancing, so there's going to be people of all ages in the choreography part of the show.
Right. Yeah, all ages. We've got kids that are dancing. We've got teenagers. We've got adults. We've got even a few older folks that really enjoy being part of it. And they start rehearsing much earlier even than the musicians do. They're getting rehearsals almost every week starting in September each year, and they work really hard to bring everything together.
And if you just are tuning in, we're talking about a presentation called A Christmas to Remember, December 17th, 18th, and a special performance Friday night, the 16th. The show is called A Christmas to Remember. So many things going on. We encourage you to come to the show, bring your friends. Enjoy it several times. Also, all the other things that we have going on at Second Baptist throughout December and all year long. In fact, we invite you. Our website is second.org, so you can go there. The show is called A Christmas to Remember. Josh, before we close this segment, anything else you want people to know about what you're doing?
No, I just hope that people can come and see it, and I hope that we're putting together a program that's something that will encourage people who are already churchgoers, but also give them something that they can bring maybe some unbelieving friends to, and they can hear the gospel and hear the story of Christmas maybe for the first time, and maybe for the one time that it matters, where their heart gets changed and they can come to a knowledge of Christ.
Absolutely. And I also want to mention, as I'm thinking about it, this is at the Woodway Campus, 6400 Woodway, right here in Houston, Texas. If you're hearing this outside of Houston, Texas, that's right. You can get a plane ticket, get here. It's worth it. Come and see the show. But also, other than the show, Rodney, one of the things we hadn't touched upon yet is when people attend one of our services, a regular worship service, a Christmas service, or this show, A Christmas to Remember, the things that happen outside of the worship center. We have an atrium that is just beautifully decorated. We have trains that you walk under, a massive train display, and so much more. So there's a lot to bring the family to at Second Baptist.
It's really one of the greatest holiday experiences you could have in December.
That's not what I was trying to say. Holiday experience.
It really is, because the atrium is a show in and of itself.
Yes,
quite
absolutely.
honestly, even before you walk into the worship center. And so we get to use that, fortunately, as a pre-show to the show. But every Sunday, as a matter of fact, it is set up and operational right now. And just take a trip down to Woodway. It's open all day long. We have a wonderful coffee shop there that you can relax and hang out and just enjoy fellowship and enjoy the huge Christmas tree that is all programmed to music, as well as all the trains. It's like a winter wonderland, quite honestly. It's amazing to take in. But, as a matter of fact, we're speaking so much about music with our choir and orchestra. Over the next 2 Sunday mornings, it's practically all music. So
wow.
Leading up to the show, we do a ton of music even before then, featuring our adult and children's choir and the orchestra you've been hearing about, and the dancers. We have, if you want to think about it in terms of show, we actually do 3 shows in December.
So basically, just come to Second Baptist anytime.
Anytime.
We have 7 campuses, but this is what we're talking about today, A Christmas to Remember, and all these other things take place at our Woodway Campus, 6400 Woodway. So as we continue, thank you so much, Josh Smith. So if you're listening and you want to see Josh when you're at the show, just look to the corner left. He will be there. I will be right there beside him. It's going to be awesome. Thank you, Josh Smith.
Thank you, Bill.
As we continue, Rodney, now we have Joy Moat. She is here. Let's tell people a little bit about Joy before we hear from her.
Well, Joy and I go back to the First Baptist Atlanta days where she served there and on our music team, and she actually grew up at First Baptist Atlanta, and then after graduation went out to Dallas. And when I came to Houston, I was in need of someone to oversee our student music ministry, which encompasses high school all the way down to children. I knew she was in Dallas, but I didn't really know what she was up to there, so just made a call. We began talking, and then just a few weeks later, here she is on our team and doing an amazing job.
Welcome to the show, Joy Moat.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And by the way, last weekend you sang a wonderful song at our worship service. It was incredible. I was moved. Everybody, it was unbelievable. You're a gifted singer, and in addition to all that, right,
She
Rodney?
is a fabulous musician, wonderful singer, great leader, and a wonderful addition to our creative team.
Thank you.
Well, Joy, let's tell people your role in A Christmas to Remember.
Sure. So I have been involved in helping prepare the children's choir and their feature in A Christmas to Remember. They're going to be featured a few different times throughout the story. First one is a very exciting, energetic party scene where it's going to be a medley of very familiar, fun songs. And the second one is actually an original song. As y'all were talking about earlier, the script and the story have been adapted, and so have the musical needs. So one of those needs was a children's standalone piece that was musically written by John Stanley, who you heard from earlier. So it's really cool to be able to have a need and have that filled so beautifully with our children's choir and with our in-house arrangers and composers. We're excited about that. And then the third time they're featured is going to be a full out scene with everybody and their mother on the stage. It's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful and powerful, and it's gonna sum up the whole reason for this season, which is that holy night.
Let's tell people about working with the kids, and that I would think part of the fun, Joy, would be just the excitement of working with children and the excitement they have to be part of this big thing.
Absolutely. So just 11 weeks ago is when we launched this full program for 1st through 12th grade music ministry for the children and students. And in those 11 weeks, we have met for only an hour on Sundays for our rehearsals. So we've been able to limit our rehearsal period for just an hour each week. And we work on rotation-styled rehearsals where the children are divided into smaller groups and they focus on different parts of the learning process. So if the first rotation might be the music, and the second rotation would be movement, and the third rotation would be music theory and helping them understand where their line fits. And the fourth is the meaning of what they're singing, the text, not just the deeper meaning, but also how to say it clearly, how to communicate the words clearly. And so we've been able to cram a bunch of music in a short amount of time with these children. And we have wonderful volunteers who head those rotations, which is great. Some very knowledgeable volunteers who are able to do that. The children love it. They are constantly moving. Every 10 minutes is when their rotation changes. So they are constantly moving and constantly changing angles of how they're learning the music. It keeps them very excited, looking forward to putting it all together as a full group.
Well, it's awesome to see the children perform, but again, seeing them get ready and to hear about how excited they are. I bet they're there talking to their friends. Oh, I'm going to be in this show and all these things. And my mind goes when I think of some of the things that happen at church where we feature children, like even during our Christmas services, our Christmas Eve services, when they bring out the little where they're dressed as sheep. I mean, now those that have not been to our Christmas service, that is just a moment just to see them as innocent as they are and excited there to be a part of something like as a church service and certainly this presentation of Christmas to remember. Give us an idea of some of the other things that are happening, Joy.
Yes. So Second does a really great job of providing all sorts of types of opportunities at different commitment levels. So the show is a higher commitment item for our children, but we also have some other opportunities that involve our student choir as well, our multi-generational worship Sundays, where we combine the children and the students and the adults and the orchestra and just have a wonderful, amazing, powerful, touching morning of worship leading from childhood to adulthood, all in one sound and one voice. So we love those Sundays. And actually, the next one is going to be on December 11th at 9:30. So you can come. It's not too late.
I noticed, Rodney, when she said multi-generational, she looked around the room. I'm not sure why, though, but just saying.
Yeah, and then we have the show, of course, and then we have some Christmas Eve services, some Christmas Eve and some Christmas Eve services, where we have some children and student soloists and the adult choir, and where the loft is actually open for guests, families to sing as well. I don't know if you want to talk any more about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do at Second, especially on Christmas Eve and Christmas Eve, is to make it a very family-friendly service. So it's very relaxed, it's very casual. The whole worship experience, if you will, utilizes children, teenagers, adults, of course. And so we open the loft. That's the one time a year that we ask choir members if they'd like to invite a spouse or a son, daughter to join them in the loft. They're a part of it.
And by the way, when we talked about the capacity of the worship center, 4,000 or 5,000 or so, the loft, the choir loft, by the way, has quite a capacity. Well,
It's
that's
amazing.
about, what, 300 or
about
more?
300. It'll seat 300. And of course, we're trying to rebuild to that point right now. So, for any of those out there who are listening, who would love to sing and you don't have a opportunity to sing somewhere, we would love for you to give us a visit. We practice every Wednesday night at 6:30 for the adults. As Joy mentioned before, in our children's division, both students and children meet every Sunday afternoon beginning at 1 o'clock, and they go for about an hour. And, and then they get to show up on stage on those select Sundays for multi-generational. But as we develop the program, the children and student will have opportunities even beyond that.
So if you're sitting in the audience, the congregation, during the presentation of Christmas to Remember, you're going to see a choir that's full. You're going to see performers, a musician all around the choir, probably 50 or so. We should ask John exactly, but there's going to be a lot of musicians, so many elements, so many things to take in. Very exciting, and the message is so important. I mean, the other thing that you mentioned about the children is, and this applies to multi-generational, and that is that the children are making a commitment, because there are 4 shows on Sunday, right? One after the other, pretty much. 2 on Saturday, the 17th, Sunday, the 18th of December, Friday night, the 16th. So it's a big commitment for an adult. Let alone the practices, the shows. So how do the children handle this big commitment? I mean, that's pretty massive.
Yes, it is a big commitment. So I think if anyone listening has ever been a part of a show, there was probably a tech week where you were called late a lot of nights in a row. And that can be a lot for people. But what I have found is that some of the best memories are made during those late nights, and those are the ones that stay for a long time. And I think that some of these children have memories like that from past shows that they've been in, and others don't have any idea what they're stepping into yet. And it's going to be hopefully a wonderful experience for them as they realize all your hard work can be so beautiful. The product of it can be just amazing and beautiful. And so we have a mixed bag of children in our choir, those who have a lot of experience and those who have very little experience. And that's part of the draw to the choir, is that we open both the children and the student choir to anyone who wants to be in it. It's approachable. You don't have to have experience. And there's a place where you can find joy, find fun through music.
And by the way, I'm thinking of the last year's Christmas presentation. Some of the younger performers, they're so gifted. You're like, holy smokes, Rodney.
Well, when you think
It's
about,
incredible.
after sitting here and just listening to Joy talk, if I had to describe what A Christmas to Remember is all about, it is a showcase of our entire music ministry. I mean, you have from the youngest to the oldest. You have the dancers, the actors, the theatrical. You have a fabulous orchestra. It is really the entire ministry on one stage together at one time. And, how awesome is that?
And you all can see it Sunday, the 18th, Saturday, the 17th, Friday night, the 16th, even at Second Baptist. And by the way, just attend Second Baptist, all our locations, but certainly the Woodway, where the show A Christmas to Remember will be presented the 16th, 17th, and 18th. But be there on all the weekends, because you'll see so much more, and you'll get to be part of the Second family. We welcome everybody, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Joy, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's exciting. Once again, the presentation is A Christmas to Remember, taking place at Second Baptist, 6400 Woodway, the weekend of the 17th and 18th of December. You can go to second.org, go to the website. You'll find out information. However, the shows are 9:30 Sunday, 11:11 Sunday, 3 and 6 Sunday, backing up Saturday, 3 and 6. Here he is, Rodney. Now we have Jeff Anderson. He is with the group called Veritas. They are going to be one of the featured performers at the show, doing incredible work.
They really are. We are excited to have Veritas again, probably one of the finest all-male groups that you could hear anywhere. And they actually are used at the end of the program as a group to just kind of pull the program together, the entire storyline together.
I'm hearing their voices right now, the magnificent voices. Each one is different. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill, what's going on, my friend?
And I can't wait till the Christmas to remember. I'm excited.
Well, we're thrilled to be back in Houston. We love Houston. We call this our second home, so we're excited to be a part of this incredible program like we are every year, just to be able to do what we can to help enhance what they already do so well, which is communicate a great message, do it with incredible talent, incredible players, singers, dancers, and just be a part of a great program like that is obviously an honor for Veritas. And I know I can speak for the other four guys. It truly is a highlight for us every Christmas to end our Christmas tour in Houston. This year it'll be on the 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Well, we are excited as usual. One of the things that we have the privilege is Jeff being on the staff with us.
Yeah.
So we get to see
all year
a
long.
part of Veritas every single week. And, of course, Jeff is featured many times on our Sunday morning services, and he helps lead worship. He's also used as one of our featured tenors. He's an amazing voice. And if you're here for practically any of the services in December at 2nd, you're going to hear Jeff, but especially on the show.
Well, the privilege is all mine, I can tell you, to have the opportunity to be a part of this great team, to be with these incredible musicians, to be a part of a staff that makes music a priority, that uses the talents and the giftings of the people within our church to expand the kingdom, to reach our community, to reach our city and around the world. And so it's really an honor for me to be a part of it. That's for sure.
Well, there's no doubt. In fact, I was thinking our pastor, Dr. Ed Young, his vision since day one, since he got here those many decades ago. But as you said it so well, Jeff, as he's put music as such a priority, it is so important. And I would say at this time, I've been a member there since 91 and joined the church during a Christmas Eve service. But here, these decades later, just to see the music evolve the way it has, and Rodney being here now, it's just incredible.
Yeah, it really is. I think for me, it's so exciting to be a part of leadership that believes in excellence, that believes in doing things the right way. We try not to sacrifice anything. We try to give everything that we can to the audience and to the people of our church and to our community. And so it's sometimes could be a little bit of a pressure cooker for us.
Just a little bit,
because we want it to be right. But man, it is really an honor and a blessing. That's for sure.
Well, give us an idea. I'm thinking, I don't know what's going to happen this year yet, but I will soon. But last year, Veritas, your role was near the end of the show, primarily. It was throughout the show, however. But one of the things you did, you were front and center. You and the other guys were front and center. Give us an idea and tell people what it's like to be performing, not just on the platform in front of the thousands of people, but also as you walk through the crowd and in your various roles.
Yeah.
What's it like?
It's going to be a little bit different this year than what we've done in the past. I know this year, one of the things, first of all, that's really great for Veritas is we have the opportunity where we kind of headline shows a lot of the time when we're out, especially during our Christmas tours. But being a part of A Christmas to Remember and Second Worship is that we're not a headliner. We're a part of something that's bigger than ourselves. To be a part of a choir, 200 voices and a full orchestra and all those dancers and children, and we're just there to enhance, to do whatever we can to come alongside and to help make this weekend dynamic and help clearly set the stage for the Holy Spirit to do what he wants to do in the lives of those that are listening and going to be a part of that program. Really, we're the thing that happens right before Dr. Young comes up. And so we want to set the stage in order for him to be able to clearly communicate a message that invites all those that are there that are listening to have a personal relationship with Christ. And that is the most important thing.
Jeff has such a keen insight into the creative process, and he was a part of the creative team from the beginning. But he's playing a role in the program as Ebenezer's father in her younger life as a teenager, and then
They
as a
saw
child.
the gray hair
I was gonna say,
that I'm
he has
getting.
I see.
now.
I've seen the fatherly quality
Yeah.
he's had just in real life.
He could play an old guy.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
But he is at a real transitional moment in the show where it is finally revealed as to what's really behind Ebby and what makes her the way she is, but also a part of that transitional process to who she will become.
Yeah.
And we love that because, as we mentioned before, the dialogue now is not only spoken, but it's sung. And so his scene particularly is a dialogue that is sung, and it is one of Josh's original songs. And it's the duet between he and his daughter in the program. And it's a moment. It will be the moment in the show.
Wow. Well, we have about 1 minute, Jeff. What else do you want people to know? I want them to know also, other than the Christmas to Remember and what's going on at Second Baptist, your role there. By the way, I'm going to put in a song request. Please do Mary Did You Know? That was
I have
fantastic.
a feeling that might show up somewhere in
Man,
there.
when you did that, I've
Yeah.
talked about that a million times, the power of the pause. You people hang on the next phrase. But anyway, let's tell people about Veritas, the website. In case they're listening outside of Houston, they want to go to one of your concerts. Veritas website is?
Veritas5.com. We'll be doing a 6-show concert tour prior to the 6 shows that we do here at Second on the 16th, 17th, and 18th of December. But yeah, we're really excited about this season and looking forward to be back in Houston in March of 2023 as well. And I know some of our fans would know that we've sing at 80 Players and a couple of other venues here in town. So be on the lookout on our website for that information.
Again, that's Veritas5.com.
Yep.
Jeff Anderson. Well, Rodney, as we wind things up here, I mean, there's so much to talk about. This should be a 3-hour show, but we don't have that much time. However, reminding people once again, A Christmas to Remember. It is the 16th, 17th, and 18th of December. There are 4, 5, 6, 7 presentations.
Six presentations.
6
total.
presentations. And, of course, all weekend long at Second Baptist, all the great things that are there. We're there to serve. We're inviting people wherever you are at our 7 locations, but certainly this show is at the Woodway Campus.
And I also want to remind people that our Christmas Eve services are coming up. We have Christmas Eve on the 23rd.
Wait a minute.
And
That's
then-
Christmas Eve, the
yeah.
day before Christmas
That's
Eve.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. That'd be a Friday. And then we have Christmas Eve services. And we have 6 campuses within the Houston Metroplex. So go to our website, second.org. You can find out all the information and what location's closest to you. And you can plan a great time with your family. And it's usually 1 hour long. So it's perfect. Great time to just celebrate, to sing together, to worship together. And it's truly a moment to remember because we all light candles at the very end, and it really is an awesome experience.
Well, I just want to invite all who want to make Christmas very special this year to make a visit to Second Baptist, either for the show or both and. Come to a worship service, come to the show, bring your friends, bring your loved ones. It truly will be a Christmas to remember.
Indeed. And once again, Dr. Young has done incredible work, his vision, and the team at Second Baptist. And also at the other locations, there are trains, presentations, and special things right there at the other locations. But in the meantime, A Christmas to Remember takes place 16th, 17th, and 18th, primarily the 17th and 18th of December. Check us out at second.org, Thank you all for listening to Successful Living with Bill, Rodney, Jeff,
Thanks, Bill.
Joy, John. Hey, everybody's name begins with J except
Yeah,
you
that's
and I,
right.
Rodney. What's the deal? Huh?
I don't know.
Outsiders.
You should. It's a little chaotic in the office.
I just picked that up. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week. And my website is radiobill.net. Go to second.org to find out all the things. Make it easy. Just visit us right there at any of our campuses at Second Baptist Houston. Thank you all. At second.org. A Christmas to Remember, December 17th, December 18th at Second Baptist Woodway Campus. We're going to tell you about the times, 3 and 6 on Saturday, 3 and 6 on Sunday, and on Sunday, in addition, 9:30 in the morning and 11:11 Sunday morning. We'll see you there.